Hello, in this video I'm going to show you the bare basics of setting up Ruby 192 along with a text editor that you can use to edit and run the Ruby scripts that you're going to be working on in Windows. And this is a basic Windows XP setup, but Windows 7 will work in a very similar fashion. So you may or may not have Ruby already installed, but just in case, what you would need to do is head to rubyinstaller.org. That's rubyinstaller.org, and on that page you have a download link, and then once you go through there you want to choose usually what's at the top here on the left. Currently that's Ruby 192 P136. I've already downloaded it, so I'm going to skip this part, go into my downloads folder here. I already have the Ruby installer file. This is what you'll be running. Just run this up, click next, accept the license. Then you want to make sure these two boxes are ticked. These add the Ruby executables to the path and ensure that .rb files are associated with this Ruby installation. That's these two things are very useful. Stick with the C:\ruby192 directory that it's installing this into. That's fine. Okay, that's finished now. Now the next thing you want is an IDE or a text editor of some sort, and I'm going to be showing Komodo Edit just because it's cross-platform, so I can mention it in different places of different people, and it's also, you know, a reasonably good free editor. So if you search on Google for Komodo Edit, it's the first result. If you click through to this, once the page loads you want to choose the Download Komodo Edit link here, and then you want to choose this Download Komodo Edit 603 for Windows. Again, I've already downloaded it, so this is what you'll be running once it's downloaded. Run this up. This is very simple too. I accept the terms of a license agreement. Here you want to make sure everything's just kept as it is. Okay, that's now installed. I'm going to get rid of this opening the user guide just because I just want to get straight into Komodo and see what's going on. In fact, actually I'm going to untick both of these because we'll show how you'll launch it in the standard way as well. Let's click finish. Now it's added a link onto the desktop here. I believe it will also have added into the start menu as well. Depends what you want to do. You might want to leave it on your desktop, you might not want the mess. Either way you can launch it, you know, whatever way you like. I'm just going to launch it like this. Now on the first time it runs up, it does some processing of some data that comes with it, so you just need to wait for this to finish. There we go. Now I'm going to ignore this start page. I find these sort of things quite confusing, so we'll just click the X here to get rid of that. Now we have a very basic plain view. What you want to click is you want to click this icon here, which is Show Hide Left Pane. What this does is it brings up a handy kind of file view of your hard drive so that you can put Ruby code in a certain place and then more accurately see all your different files. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into My Documents, I'm going to right click and say New Folder, and I'm just going to call this folder Ruby. This is where I'm going to store my various Ruby scripts I'm going to be working on. Now if I come back into Komodo Edit, if I look for My Documents, I have the Ruby folder here. There's nothing in it yet. But what I can now do is I can right click on that and I can say make this folder root. So this is basically my view of the Ruby folder, though there's nothing in it yet. Now I can right click and say New File. So let's create a new file, and I'm going to call it myscript.rb. That's been created here. If I double click on that, that brings it up here in the right hand side editor window, and I'm going to write a very, very simple Ruby script, and that's puts hello world. And as you can see, it was bringing up things along the way to sort of help me write the code, but I'm not too interested in that at the moment. Now all I'm going to do is click this Save File. You could have also clicked File, Save, or just press Ctrl and S. Now if we want to run this, there's two different ways we can do it. Perhaps the most easily replicated way is if you go back to your terminal, or command prompt rather, as it's known in Windows. If I now do a CD into my documents, and I did this by typing CD space and then I type the my and then I press tab, and it kind of auto completes and puts the inverted commas around there. And then into my Ruby, if I do dir, I can see a list of the scripts, myscript.rb, and if I run ruby myscript.rb, there's the result with the hello world. And another way I can run it is if I go to Tools menu in Komodo, Run Command. Now I have to do a little bit of work here. If you click on these shortcuts and select Configured Ruby Interpreter, come in, space, come in again and then choose File Path, and then we choose Run. Okay, problem here. Go back to Tools, Run again. It's not dealing very well with the spaces that are in the path, the documents and my documents and so on. We put inverted commas around here. Click Run. There we go. It shows what's being run at the command line in the terminal, and then what the result is, the hello world. You're not going to want to run everything in this way, but it can be useful for some stuff. I believe actually there's a third way of we can be running the Ruby script. If I come into my documents and Ruby, and because we click that button in the Ruby installer to link Ruby files to the Ruby interpreter, I think I can double click on this. Yep, and it runs but immediately disappears again, which isn't incredibly useful, unfortunately. If we had a script that was going to wait for some text, so if I put the next line here and I just type the word gets, save, and then double click this, you see it stays here now because it's waiting for some text input. So if I come here and just press enter, then it will close again. So that's yet another way you can run a Ruby script. And that's pretty much the basics of it. You can close this, you can choose whether to save it or not. We still have all the things we want in here. We can create extra files, or we can select existing files we've got and even delete them if we wish. And that's the basics.